All right, all right. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are going to chit chat today. I've actually meant to be live sooner than this, but I've had a lot of other things going on. But it's interesting. It's interesting because I was just chatting with a friend on Facebook about this, and actually on TikTok on a live. I had on a, not a live on a video. I shared a video of how the other day, um, kind of last minute, I wound up going on some appointments and that with my dad, and it was the right thing to do. It was just the right thing to do, and how I know it was the right thing to do because I made sales without talking to people I'd never talked to, people I'd never seen engage on my content, made orders while I was with my dad, being, a daughter and being supportive of him. And the fact that I have this system set up, that I have the structure set up for that to happen is not an accident. It was intentional. It's by design. And, sometimes we get lost in the shuffle, we get lost in the fray of doing what it is that we do, that we kind of can forget why we do things that we do. And that is exactly why I do it, so that I can be with my family, be supportive. Because there was a time when, because of my corporate career, that just wasn't possible. That didn't happen. So, I didn't even realize that I made the sales until the next day. And that was the most powerful part of it, because I minimized the notifications in that on my phone. So I don't get a lot of different notifications in that, because it just gets to be too much. It gets to be overstimulating. So, when checking my email the next morning and seeing that those, plus the signal at the hospital was really horrible. The signal, because I actually took my laptop and was going to, you know, get some things scheduled and get some things created and out. And it didn't happen because the signal was just horrible. The signal was horrible. So, I was 100% present where I needed to be, when I needed to be. And from there, later on, I discovered that I'd actually made sales. And so, that can't happen when you don't have the system in place for it to happen, first of all. You've got to have the systems, you've got to have the automation in place, right? You have to have a high converting offer, right? You have to have a strategy, because for people that I've never talked to, and one, I know that maybe she'd heard about it from somewhere else. I don't know, but she went from the lead magnet and converted from the lead magnet to a sale of DBA. Okay. And that comes from search, because I know the exact video that she went to, and from there wound up getting the lead magnet, the preview for DBA. And then from the preview, she was able to click and complete her purchase, right? And so that's strategy, right? Because that video was search optimized so that I could be discovered. And I also was intentional as part of the strategy in determining, before I even posted, from this post, what action do I want my ideal client to take? Okay. So I had a very specific ideal client in mind when I created the content, and then the content delivered what it needed to deliver, and it had a call to action to go where you need to go to click and get the information. And it happened relatively quickly. So if you have an ounce of doubt that this can be done, I'm here to tell you that it can be done, because this ain't the first time at the rodeo for me. I've done this numerous times for many, many years. And it's been for my own products and services, for digital products and services, for coaching, for physical products and services, for affiliate products. Okay. It all works the same way, right? So when you buy things like DBA and many of these other courses, just buying the course alone is not going to make it happen for you. You have to go in, you have to learn the skills, you have to apply what it is that you learn, right? Information plus application equals transformation. I'll say it again. Information plus application equals transformation, right? If you want change, you have to apply what you're learning. Just buying a course and selling it, okay? Because I spent some time in the groups this morning and I saw some things, right? I saw some things, right? So, there was something about if you just buy DBA with the intention of reselling it, you've already missed the mark. And I disagree with that. I 1000% disagree with that, right? Because a car dealership, and I'm old enough to remember when car dealerships weren't these big super mega corporations. It was literally someone's dad that you went to school with that owned the car dealership, right? Whether it was the brand new show model cars or even a used car lot, right? I'm old enough to remember that, right? But the car dealer buys cars with the purpose of reselling them, whether they are buying used cars or brand new off the line cars. They buy them with the purpose of reselling them, right? So there's nothing wrong with buying DBA if you are an information product broker or dealer. There is nothing wrong with that, but there still needs to be some meat to it, right? As I say, your product is not the offer. Okay. The product alone is not the offer, right? If you just buy the course to resell the course without having an ideal client in mind, without having a transformation, a before and after for that ideal client, a solution that you're offering, then yes, you are hitting the mark. And I do believe that's what was meant when it was said, but I don't know that everybody was going to hear it for what it's supposed to be said, right? So it's okay to be a broker or a dealer, like a real estate agent is there to sell homes. They're there to sell the vision of the life and the memories that are created and the events like childbirth, like grandchildren, like graduation, like first steps that take place in a home, entertaining and socializing with others, at a certain level is part of the home buying experience because you have to paint the vision, right? So there is nothing wrong with buying courses with the intention of reselling them. However, if you are not also going to go in and actually learn and apply the skills that are in there, you're going to have a hard time selling it, right? Because that as you are selling it, go back to either real estate or cars, the I'm going to go back to when I was in travel. When I was in travel, my first job out of college, to better sell hotels, hotels would invite you for a site tour and they really wanted you to stay and experience the hotel, right? I got to experience Disney's Animal Kingdom before it even opened to the public. I got to experience Universal Studios Islands of Adventure before it opened to the public because it made it a lot easier from a marketing and sales standpoint when you've actually experienced it and being able to translate and communicate that experience into messages to make people want to have the same experience and want to open their wallet, pull out their credit card and buy. Because in the case of Disney, in the case of Universal Studios, it is, a higher ticket item. It is an investment, right? especially for a family of four, a family of six, or whatever. You've got to paint the vision, right? And so if you buy something like DBA with the intention of selling it, but you buy it and just go straight to selling it without going through the materials, without understanding what's in there, why it's in there, why it would matter that it's in there to your ideal client, without having a strategy in place, you're wasting everybody's time. You're making it more difficult for the people who really are here to make an impact on others and help other people make transformation in their life, right? So, what does that sound like? For me, for example, I raised two girls as a single mom. I was financially responsible for them completely on my own, right? I often stayed in jobs and companies that I really didn't like because I had to provide for my children. And yes, I'm highly educated. Yes, well spoken. Yes, had all the big fancy titles and that, but also got overworked, and underpaid, abused, used and abused in corporate America, right? And so for me, it's about not having to see another mother go through what I went through with corporate America and helping her to see that she has other options. Because I didn't see that, right? Helping her see that she has other options, that a job is not the only way to be able to provide for your family, right? And in today's world, a lot of people are devaluing education. I will never devalue education, because whether you go get the formal education in terms of a bachelor's like I did, a master's like I did, and even beyond that, you still need some sort of education, right? And whether that education comes from apprenticeship, internship, certification, whatever it is, you are still going to need some sort of education, right? In addition to my formal education, I got certifications in digital marketing because digital marketing was not a part of the curriculum when I did both my undergraduate and graduate degree studies. It just wasn't, right? So I had a solid foundation, but I went back and learned the principles and applied them in order to be able to better attract and serve my client, right? So it's easier for me to sell DBA both within my own network and to strangers on the internet when I understand it at a level of having experienced it. Okay. It's a lot easier and a lot more impactful to do that. I also have not had to refund anybody. I don't know the last time I refunded anybody for anything. Number one, because my refund policy is pretty tight. I also state my refund policy up front, but as a matter of converting through my content and through conversation, I end up not having to do refunds because I present things, number one, in an ethical and transparent manner, and two, in a way so that people 100% understand what they are going to get. Okay. There was a time when I came on and I would show you, especially on the Clock app, what it looks like inside of DBA. I don't do that on the Clock app as much because they kind of started penalizing people for that. So I kind of moved away from that. But I still talk about it, right? Someone bought DBA in the last few days, and everybody gets it and they get excited and they want to get started right away. And you have to explain to them, it's all outlined in the email, and I say it on all my content. When you buy DBA, you're going to have to submit your receipt. You're going to have to, and it can be a screenshot of your receipt, and it can take 24 to 48 hours to get inside of DBA. Once you're inside of DBA, this is what I recommend you start with. You definitely, absolutely want to first go to getting started so you can understand the rules of what you can and cannot do with someone else's intellectual property. Okay, you need to understand exactly what resale rights means in this specific case, as far as what you can and cannot do, so you don't have no problems. So you don't have to be going on other people's lives talking about I bought DBA and they blocked me and banned me. Did you tell them what you did to get blocked and banned? Did you tell them that you broke the rules? Okay. So you have to go first there to getting started, that very first module. Then from there, the next module is how to launch. But before you launch, you need to first set up your store. Okay. And so if you move to that top row, you're going to skip over how to launch, and then you go into setting up your store. Then you can go back to how to launch. But the first thing you need to do is set up your store. Okay. And if you don't want to set up your store, then you got to be prepared to pay somebody else to do it. I don't offer it. It's not part of my offer to set up the store. It's not part of my offer, and it won't be part of my offer. Okay. Okay. Because I'm a firm believer in, you need to know how to do these things, and you need to navigate these things, and you need to know how to do some of these things. That's also why I don't target people who are desperate for money. Okay. Because when you target people who are desperate for money, that is what happens. When you target people who are desperate for money, they tend to need to be able to buy the product, get in, and make money all like right away. And it's just not a realistic expectation. Okay. So I like to target people who, everybody needs to make money. Let's not kid ourselves, right? But not in a dire need, desperate situation. Okay. Because it's honestly just bad on everyone, as we are all part of the brand with it having master resale rights. When there's this desperation out there and people are willing to do anything to make a buck, I tend to stay away. Not tend to, I just absolutely stay away from things like that. Okay. And so that's part of why I don't target people like that. I target people who are where I was 10 years ago, still working in corporate America, looking to get out. That's my stick. That's my spiel. Everyone has a different niche. Everyone has, a different group that they are looking to work with. And so, you want to go to that first module, like I said, what can you do? And then you want to go into setting up your store. Okay. Because here's the thing, what's inside the modules of DBA can get you paid. Can get you paid. Digital marketing is a highly paid skill set. Digital marketing is not only a highly paid skill set, it is an in demand skill set. Okay. I was thinking just earlier today how in my email on a regular and consistent basis. Don't laugh at me. Don't poke fun of me. But in my email inbox, in my personal email, I have multiple emails. Okay. In my personal email, I get emails from Chipotle, from Burger King. I don't see Subway as much anymore, but I get emails from national chain fast food restaurants. I can't tell you the last time I got an email from a regular local owned and operated small business operated restaurant. I can't tell you the last time I got one. I can't tell you the last time I walked into a local owned small business restaurant and was asked to sign up for an email list by way of getting a discount, a free appetizer, a free drink, or anything. And I think that's a big mistake. My little neighborhood watering hole that I like to go to, they had just within the last year opened a second location. That second location, there was an announcement that was closing. I never saw an announcement for their main restaurant, but I happened to just be walking past there one day, my little neighborhood watering hole, and the sign is up, says we're closed while we transition ownership. Right? And they're not the first. There are several restaurants in this area who have closed. Some of them have been around a lot longer than others. And I have to think part of it is because They need digital marketing. Because, see, everybody thinks of social media marketing when they think of digital marketing. And social media marketing is a form of digital marketing. Social media marketing is a form of digital marketing. I did a whole live on this earlier in the summer. Digital marketing encompasses a lot of things, right? Digital marketing is basically anything that is marketing related, getting your message out, making people aware of your product and in the solution, right? That it provides, that you do digitally, right? So that could be email marketing, that could be social media marketing, that can be banner marketing, that can be, so many different things, right? Because you can do some of these marketing, like content marketing, a magazine, right? Putting out your own magazine is content, but if it happens to be a digital magazine or there's a digital version of it, then it's digital marketing. But if it's a hard copy printed and mailed or picked up at a stand somewhere, that is print marketing. Okay. And so digital marketing is something that is no longer optional. And that is why it is estimated by 2030, digital marketing will be a $1.5 trillion industry skill set. I'd rather call it a skill set, because what digital marketing is not, it is not a product, it is not a business model, it is not an offer. And yes, I know there are people out there offering it that way, but it's not. Digital marketing is a highly paid skill set, right? I have to let people know all the time. I do not just sit and play on the computer and play on Facebook all day. I am on social media with intent. When people get to asking about, did I see this and did I see that and do I interact with that, right? When I am on social media, I am there with intent. I am there to mind the business that pays me. And some of the stuff that y'all doing and talking about, and if I can't spin it to fit what I am doing, it ain't getting talked about because it don't make me no money. Now, it doesn't mean I'm straight up business 24/7, 365. I get silly and I play in the sandbox a little bit too. I get personal, I can be transparent. Okay. But my social media, because one of the things people get upset about, they want to tag you, they want you to share their stuff to the world. No, no, we're not sharing everything on my feed. That's not happening. We're not sharing everything on my feed because, number one, I am not a manic panic poster. Okay. I'm not posting every hour all day. There are times when I am in launch mode, for example, or beast mode or peak mode, where I might take my posting up to 7 times a day, but I'm not posting and reacting to every bit of news that's out there. I am not a manic poster. That is just not the vibe. That is not the vibe. That is not in alignment with my brand. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care how well it's working for them. It is not my brand, right? I learned that early on. I do not react and respond to what other people are doing. Just because someone else is doing it and it is working for them does not mean that I need to try it or that it works for me. Same with every idea that pops in my head. I don't have to act on every idea, every download that pops into my head. I don't have to act on it. It's not necessary. It's not required, right? It has to be in alignment. It has to be in alignment with my brand voice, my goals, the vision, the mission. It has to be in alignment. If it's not in alignment, I'm not doing it. I don't care who said it. I don't care what they're doing. See, because I need y'all to understand this. Your coach is not your messiah. Your coach is not your Messiah. Your coach, baby, ain't no prophet being my coach. Okay. I don't, mm-mm. And I do believe in God being in my business. And I do, but mm-mm, no. Mm-mm. Because some of these people, some of the stuff I see and hear, Molly, you in danger, girl. You in danger. You in danger. Okay. And I will tell you, when I first came online, the first company that I was partnered with, I got a really hard lesson within the first year. Okay. And that lesson was don't let it become cult like. Don't get to don't you because I'm a very loyal person. I love to be a part, everybody loves to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Okay. I'm like the next person. I love to be a part of something bigger than myself. But when you can go from, being having an affinity to it becoming part of your identity. And that's when you start to have problems. And y'all got to remember that with working with some of these coaches. Being involved in that coach's space should not become your identity, right? Some of y'all promote y'all coaches too much, too much, too much. You know, like, uh y'all promote y'all coaches more than y'all promote your own business. And a good, solid coach is going to tell you not to do that. Yeah, mm-mm. Yeah, your coach is not the Messiah. Your coach is not your prophet or prophetess. Not in my world, anyway. We don't do that over here. We don't do that over here. No, mm-mm. We don't do that over here. So, uh, everybody have different ideologies. You do what works for you, but at the end of the day, this is my business. I will take guidance, I will take counsel, but at the end of the day, I'm using my discernment in doing what I have to do for me and my business, what's in alignment for me and my business. And that is what I work with my clients on as well. I am not their Messiah. I am no, number one, because some of y'all just looking for somebody to blame. I talk about this all the time. It ain't gonna be me. You're not gonna be blaming me. You're not gonna be blaming me. I'm not, no. Mm-mm. My job is to help you learn how to think. My job is to help you, um, you know, with your thought process. My job is to help you think like a business, to put your business owner hat on, not to tell you you have to be on YouTube. Because you know what? Being on YouTube ain't for everybody. It is not my job to tell you to be on Pinterest. Do I have a Pinterest course? Yes. Is it for everybody? No. So I don't recommend it to everybody. Okay. My Pinterest course is for those who Pinterest is for. If Pinterest ain't for you, I'm not going to sell you a Pinterest course. I'm going to let you know. I don't think that's what's right for you. I don't think that's what you need. But at the end of the day, it is your job. It is your duty to yourself to know. Um, Kevin Trudeau, he says there are two people, the people you should ultimately listen to, those who have what you want, those who are where or have been where you want to be, but ultimately you need to be able to listen to yourself. And that is why I'm always talking about discernment. You have to have the discernment to know and be able to trust yourself. One of the biggest things in my personal development in the last year or two has been learning to trust myself again. Because I had a lot of wounds, a lot of scars from trauma from corporate America, along with different personal traumas where I had to get back in tune with my star player. I had to get back in tune with my star player and learn to trust myself again, that I know what to do, that I can take in the stimuli and process them and quickly and know what to do, to know what the next step is without needing validation, without needing consensus, without needing to run it against anyone, including ChatGPT, because I've been known to do that to see what ChatGPT says or what the blueprint is or what the right way to blah, 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 blah. No, learn to trust yourself. That doesn't mean you don't need a coach. I ain't gonna ever tell you that. I keep coaches for that reason. Everybody needs to have some external person that they can go to and bounce ideas off of. But I've never really watched Star Wars, but I always hear people talk about Yoda being that, that coach, that mentor that, can help you. But I always think of Mr. Miyagi, right? I always think of Mr. Miyagi. Did he taught him the principles. He didn't even know he was learning the principles of wax on, wax off, and doing the painting in that, right? But Mr. Miyagi was not a bully. He was not a my way or the highway. He was not manic. He was very pragmatic. He was very principled. If we're gonna stick with P's, okay. So that is the type of coach I like to be, is more like a Yoda or a Mr. Miyagi, pragmatic, principled, persistent, professional, right? That is the type of mentor I prefer to be, and I also prefer to work with. Now, some of y'all have been conditioned that you need to be beat up. Baby, get some therapy. Get some therapy. Some of y'all think that it always has to be about tough love. And I'm not saying tough love should not be a part of it. I'm saying tough love should not be the default. Ooh, should not have to default to tough love. That should not be the go to, the everyday, the standard. It should be rare that you got to go into tough love and right? Because first of all, as a coach, consultant, I know who it is that I serve, and the people that I serve are able to self govern. They are able to self discipline. They have self knowledge and awareness, right? They don't need to be. I can't work with people who need to be told every little thing and have their hand held. No, not for me. Not for me. It is not for me to be your mama or your daddy. My clients, my mastermind, they laugh. They talk about it all the time. Because you're not our mama. I'm not your mama. I am not your mama. I am not a micromanager of people. I can be a micromanager of processes, of systems, of methodology, of the way that things are done, but I will not be a micromanager of people. I don't even think you can manage people. You manage emotions, you manage systems, right? And managing emotions really boils down to breathing and keeping it regulated. And some of y'all need to learn how to breathe. And that's why you're out of touch with your gut instinct and discernment, because you're not breathing properly. I've learned that you can breathe your way through anything. If you can breathe your way through it, you can get through it. You can survive it. And once your breathing gets short and shallow, it's a wrap. You have to still be able to breathe and get those deep cleansing breaths. Okay. Okay. So you have to know how to trust yourself, right? And that's one of the things I find, that yes, I am a marketing, a business coach, but what I ultimately end up helping my clients with is learning how to trust themselves, and then helping to fill in holes with what they are planning and strategizing, right? And helping them with killer strategy and planning, because that's the good stuff. That's where I shine. That's where I shine. Now I do shine with some of the mindset stuff. I don't give myself enough credit with that. But there's just a certain amount and type of work that's involved with that I just really that it doesn't align. It's not an alignment for me. It's just not an alignment. So I tend to shy away from that. Okay. And so you have to know who is leading you. And ultimately, you need to be a self leader. You need to be leading yourself, right? Because again, if your affinity turns into your identity, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a big crisis on your hand. Okay? You have a problem on your hand, right? When you know who you know who you are not. That's ultimately what discernment boils down to. When you know who you know who you are not, and you will not take on the identity that others try to ascribe to you. Okay? I have a friend who, when we are in overlapping networks, wants to try to, I don't know. I think it's a weird thing. It's like she wants to, I won't say hitch her start in my wagon, but ultimately that's where I'm starting to begin to see what is happening. But she wants to let everybody know just how tight our relationship is, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And in doing so, I start saying something, and she wants to finish my sentence. Like, that's not even what I was going to say. Please stop doing that, right? I have this rule. Nobody gets to tell my story but me. I own my story, and I tell my story. I don't need you to open up your mouth for me. I speak for myself, right? So you don't let anyone else ascribe an identity to you, because it'll be interesting sometimes. You hear the stuff that comes out of people's mouths. And it's like, I don't know where you got that from, but it wasn't for me. I never said it, and I never said it in that way, right? Because they're framing your story through their own lens so that they can sleep at night about who they are and who they are not. So I don't allow other people to ascribe an identity to me or tell my story, thus creating an identity around me. Okay. I lead me, you need to lead you. It doesn't mean that I'm not a leader when I work with you and I help you. It just means that at the end of the day, you take accountability for you in your business, not me. At the end of the day, you have to know what is going to work for you in your business, and you have to own it and make it work for you. Because, whoo, that's another problem. Y'all try something one time and it doesn't work. Very rarely do things work the first time. We wouldn't even be driving in cars. We wouldn't even be flying in airplanes if the first time it worked, they quit. And I'm not going to get into who invented this and who invented that, because I don't even remember and I don't care, to be honest with it. But had they quit the first time, and from what I understand, that actually does play into the invention of the airplane with the oh my god, I did a report on them in like third or fourth grade. The Wright brothers, right? The reason we think of them when it comes to airplanes, because the other dude had a bad attitude and would quit easily, I believe, is the story. I'm not, don't quote me. Don't quote me. I've been getting little things wrong lately, and I ain't about to look it up, right? Don't quote me, but I believe that emotional intelligence, that soft skill. Remember, we last time we went live, we talked about soft skills, right? Resilience, persistence, emotional intelligence. Those are soft skills, right? You got to work on those too. And that is why, even if you are selling DBA, you still need to go through the modules. You still need to learn because, for example, setting up your store. It's a quick fix to pay somebody else to do it for you. Thank you for the love. Hey, girl. Hey, Portia. So if you don't go through and learn how to set up your own store, you won't get the lesson. You won't know little things to be able to say in your messaging in order to be able to sell more DBA, right? Because I remember more than a couple years ago, my mentor, Dawn, um, you know, basically worked with me and told me to, I got in her program, and her program was around Entreport. And I'd been using Get Response for years. And within the first day or two, I was almost crying. I wasn't crying. If I was, I would tell the truth. But I was close to crying, and I was ready to quit. I was ready to just hang it up and go right back to Get Response, to go back to my comfort zone, to what I knew, which was Get Response. But I toughed it out and I learned it. And my first 5-figure client, pay in full, came because of the skill set that I acquired in going through her program and learning Entreport. I never would have gotten that first full pay client. I never would have built the confidence to then increase my pricing and increase my value and my annual takeaway had I not toughed it out. This is good. This is money right here. Had I not toughed it out and learned that Entreport skill set, I never would have learned that. I never would have got to that bag. Right. And by the way, Dawn is also who really helped me hone my email marketing skills. Because how I got that 5-figure full pay client was I did a watch party, because back then you could do watch parties on FB of a training. And in the comments, I was working the comments. I shared, did a watch party in a targeted group where my ideal client was hanging out. I did this watch party and people were commenting, and I dropped information for my lead magnet, and this decision maker opted into my lead magnet and got on my email list, and within a week was in my inbox. And after one conversation, credit card swiped. The biggest day in business ever for me because of my email marketing skill, and because I was willing to tough it out and learn that Entreport skill and the other skills that were in that program. That leveling up, right? That leveling up. That never would have happened. And that's why I'm a big fan of it's okay to buy the course and not want to be a digital marketer. But I worked in corporate America for over 20 years. 20, 22, I believe. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. 22 years, right? All the way back to when I was interning for the company, a major consumer goods company, right? And then I went and worked over on their professional side, which was business to business, not business to consumer. I went through their programs. I never was a janitor, but I went through the program to learn how to finish floors for the floor wax and the floor cleaning and the janitorial chemicals and that. They put me through all those different programs because it was about learning and being able to apply that learning to what it is that I did for them in marketing as an intern. I hope y'all picking up what I'm throwing down here. I always tell my clients, right? Like my Pinterest course, for example. Well, I want to hire somebody else to do it, but how do you know they're doing what they're supposed to do? You need to go through the course and get familiar, know enough to be dangerous, and be able to communicate what it is that you want and expect from a Pinterest manager. You still should go through the course a little bit. I'm not saying you got to do that with everything and all the time, but there's a lot to be said for familiarizing yourself with it just enough to be dangerous. Doesn't mean you got to do it. It don't mean you got to be a master of it, but there's something to be said for experiencing it. Like I said, when I could look through a catalog and I could say, "Oh, hey, here's a low-end budget hotel, here's a mid-range hotel, and here's a higher end hotel." But you don't really understand the difference between them until you've experienced all of them individually, and then comparatively, you can say, "Oh, the difference between this one and this one, the difference between this location and this location, the difference between Kissimmee and iDrive in Orlando, the difference between iDrive and being over on actually Disney property, right? You understand not only the difference in the property, but what is surrounding the property and how that impacts the experience. And so it's the same thing with DBA. You need to buy DBA, you need to go into those modules and do some of the work. It doesn't matter that you don't want to be an email marketer. It doesn't matter that you don't want to edit videos. It doesn't matter that you don't want to Turo or any of that. You are buying it to experience it and explain it in its totality to your potential client. And on top of that, I still firmly stand 10 toes down that the value is in the skill sets that are in the course. Branding, digital marketing, digital marketing is a highly paid, in demand skill set. It is no longer optional. The reason that people are having a tough time replacing jobs right now is because they don't have marketing and sales skills to get the job. And it's not that those are required to perform the job, but they are required to get the job in 2024. Right? Think about it. I saw a TikTok either this morning or last night about work from home jobs. I can't even remember the name of the company. But honestly, when I see those, I'm like, why would I even apply? Because you know there are going to be thousands of people that apply. Right. So, I heard another stat months ago about how for some jobs it would be like 11,000 people applying. And that's why you can barely hit submit and you've already got a decline in your email. It's part of why. Because a lot of times they're not even really hiring anybody. Right. So you got to be able to compete. Sales and marketing, communication skills, so soft skills, emotional intelligence. A lot of them, shoot, you can't even get the interview because you can't pass the personality assessment. You can't pass the little test at the beginning of it. They have knockout questions. You get knocked out the box by answering a question wrong and you never even know it. Right? I remember at the bank, one of them was something about, is it okay to ever lie? You better say no. You better say no. If you say yes, I'm pretty sure it's a knockout question. I never was told or it confirmed or validated that it was, but just think about it. The correct answer is no. It is not okay to ever lie. It's just not okay. So, sales, marketing, writing, communication, content creation, right? I'm waiting. There's going to be courses that come out on how to create content to attract employers to you. I think that's going to be the next big thing. I might just do it. What type of content to create, especially on something like LinkedIn and even X and Twitter and threads to attract employers to you. Because I think that's going to be the next thing. Employers tapping you on the shoulder from your social media to apply. Just like they go to job fairs, why aren't they recruiting from on social media? I kind of know why they haven't. Usually company policies and that kind of prevents them from doing it, but I think that's a new thing that's going to be happening in the next 5 years is you will be recruited from your social media. I mean, why not? That's where a lot of my clients come from, social media. And I don't close all of them. I don't convert all of them, but you would be amazed at how many people reach out to me. You would be amazed at whose social media I was actually behind. You'd be amazed at whose strategy I perfected. You would be amazed, right? But I think that's coming, where you are recruited for jobs, for opportunities, for contracts and positions based on your social media. I'm not a big fan of cold emailing and messaging. Can it be done? I worked in business to business for many years. Absolutely. It can be done. And before I go hungry or homeless, you better believe I will send a cold email or a cold message. I've done it. It's not just not my favorite thing to do, and there is a way to do it. Okay, there's definitely a way to do it. Okay. So what else did I want to talk about? I think the big thing too, especially when it comes to DBA, in the whole concept of if you should or should not buy it strictly to resell it. One, I think that's the wrong way to say it. You shouldn't buy it with the intention to resell it without actually going through the material. And I think we've covered that. I think there should be an overstanding on that, right? But I still want to stress to you, to impress upon you, that it is important to understand the difference between building a business and just making money, because they are not the same. They are not the same. And a lot of people, and this goes back to putting on your business hat also, right? A lot of people will buy DBA to make money, but they're not actually building a business. And if you wanted to build a digital marketing business, digital DBA, Digital Boss Academy is the way to go. Volume 1 teaches you the fundamentals and how to get started and get to making not just money, but really nice money. I mean, the branding module alone, I stand 10 toes down. The branding module alone is valued at $2,000. I could easily see that is a $2,000 course inside of DBA. The branding module, the content vault is worth money, but the PLR vault, there is money, there is gold dust in the air when it comes to DBA. And the real value is in the skill set, whether you want to become better at selling DBA or whatever, it is in DBA. I think when someone says don't buy DBA just with the intention of reselling it, they mean you need to know how to set up your store. You need to know what process for people to go through. You just become a more effective seller that way. But to get back to what I was saying, building a business versus making money. Volume 2 is how to multiply the money, what to do with the money that you are making, right? Volume 1, I think, is good for making money. If you just want to make money, you need volume 1. Volume 2, however, is when you really begin to build a business. So volume 2 is where you get into Turo, your money. I mean, where there's a lot of money to be made, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, right? Your more business building platforms. Okay. Business building platforms, um, the deeper content creation and strategy and planning is in volume 2. And when I say put your business hat on, so it's been announced that DBA 3 is coming. There are people who are very misguided who think that you get volume 3 for free because you bought volume 1 and volume 2. Now, I can neither confirm nor deny that, but as a business woman, like Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. from someone who is a business woman, that would be the wrong move to make. Not only for her, but for all of us. That would be the wrong move to make. The goal of business, Peter Drucker, the godfather of modern management, said the goal of business is to create a customer. Someone who bought from you one time is not a customer, that was a transaction. I'm going to say it again. Someone who bought from you one time is not a customer, that was a transaction. A customer is a relationship. A customer buys from you more than once, right? Some have a longer value, a longer lifespan as a customer than others, right? Think about it. Your child's pediatrician. You don't take your child to one doctor one time, typically, and then their next appointment, you take them to the next. As a patient, you are a customer, right? McDonald's. Very few people go to McDonald's and they've only been there one time and they never go again. The goal of business is to create a customer. So let's break this down. Let's think about this with DBA. If someone bought volume 1 and volume 2 and everybody gets volume 3, how are you making money? Why would you be excited about DBA volume 3? Where your money coming from? Right? Because the goal of business is to create a customer. And what Brooklyn is looking at is a business school issue, is recurring income. She's created DBA that has almost 17,000 members inside of there, but she didn't put 17,000 people inside of there, but she has access to 17,000 people, right? 17,000 people. So say she put 1,000 in there. It probably isn't even 1,000. It's probably more like, I can't even guess, right? But just say 1,000 people, right? There are 16,000 people in there that she never made a dime on. And she knew that going in. I don't think she's complaining about that. But for her goals and for her to level up and get to the next level, because she didn't make a dime off of me. I bought it from Melissa. Okay. And then the 20 some, 30 some people that bought it from me, she didn't get a dime off of them, and Melissa didn't get a dime off of them, right? So she has a problem that she needs to fix. And from what I understand, how she's fixing that problem is DBA 3 is going to be an affiliate program, right? So that she is really monetizing her brand. And I can't be mad at her about it because I'm a business woman. I'm a business woman. I'm a woman who happens to be a business, right? So where is the recurring income? How does she get revenue from each of us over and over again? And she can't with DBA 1 and 2 being MRR. Now, those are going to stay MRR from what I understand, and I could be wrong. This is just hearsay. But volume 3 is going to be an affiliate program where, you know, she gets a piece and we get a piece for selling it, right? You got to put your business hat on. It's not just about making money. And some of y'all really don't even have, it's not even about the transactional piece. Some of y'all still have consumer hats on. Oh, we get it free. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Do you know it is statistically proven that it is easier and more cost effective to sell to a customer who has previously purchased from you than to go out and acquire to get a new customer? You often don't make money on a new customer for at least a year because of the cost to acquire them. Okay. So in Brooklyn's example, DBA 1 and 2 being MRR was the cost to acquire the customers and the affiliates for DBA 3. We got to be business people. We got to learn how to think. And that's why I'm a fan of education. You'll never hear me knock my master's or my bachelor's ever, ever, ever. Just ain't doing it. It doesn't make sense to. Okay. So DBA volume 1, volume 2, 222. Check it out. You know where to go. Okay. Book your strategy session. We are in the fourth quarter, people. It's fourth quarter. It is fourth quarter. And fourth quarter is the most impactful, the most profitable, but also the shortest quarter because you literally lose like the last 2 weeks of the year. And most people actually quit after Black Friday. Most of y'all ain't going to be working after Black Friday anyway. Okay. And yes, you can still make sales the last 2 weeks of the year. However, you got to be planning for that now, because I'm not going to tell you you need to work like a dog during the Christmas holiday. You need to be with your family. And y'all got to, again, who is leading you? Who is leading you? Because baby, I'm going to the cookout. I'm going to Christmas. I'm going to Thanksgiving. And I'm going to be present. And my parents are getting older. My parents ain't guaranteed. I ain't even guaranteed. I got grandkids. I could have stayed in corporate if I was going to be building business before them. Because if you're building business and automations and systems and you got the content out there working for you 24/7, 365, you should not have to be glued to your phone or your computer. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. Sorry, not sorry. You shouldn't have to be. I did not have to be glued to my computer or my phone on Monday, and I still made sales while I was being a good daughter and with my parents when my dad needed me and wanted me to be there. And even if I didn't, I could go back the next day and figure it out and make it happen. But I was going to be there for my daddy. Okay. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world if he loses his soul? Like, come on, y'all. We're not going to turn coaching and digital marketing skill set and courses into the toxicity of what we've seen with some other industries in the last 10-15 years. We're not going to do that. There's harmony. There's a way to create harmony, and that is why you build it in the first place. I'm put it to you this way: if one event is going to make it all come tumbling, it was not built on solid ground anyway. It's not built on solid ground anyway. No, come on now, y'all. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. We got to be better than that. We got to be smarter than that. We do. We do. Right? Don't be so busy building a business that you forget to build a life. You still got to build that life. You still got to put that time in, because baby, once it's gone, it's gone. And once they gone, they gone. Trust me, my grandparents are gone. I wish they were here, but I have other family members that are gone. They're not here anymore. You do not get that time back. And part of why I've built what I've built and continue to build it is because I didn't get to give them, especially like my grandfather that time before he passed away early 2012. The grief was that much more difficult because I literally chose my job over him. Now, I'll argue with my kids up and down. I didn't choose my job over them. I had to take care of them. Somebody had to work and pay the bills. Somebody had to pay for braces, the way they eat, the vacations, and all that. Somebody had to pay for that stuff, right? They ain't never live in no nasty place, no where they could be ducking gunshots and all that. That stuff got to be paid for. And that's where I was at the time. And I always found a way to make time for them and for what they wanted to do and when they wanted to do it, right? But yeah, when you're a single parent, sometimes the job in that moment might have to come first in just that one moment. But overall, no, right? But when you're living for the weekend, you might not go see your grandparents when you should because you're too busy partying to balance out the stress from the week, right? So I'm just telling you, don't. Again, who's leading you? Are you leading you? Are you using your own discernment? Because just because somebody else that might be where they are doesn't mean that's where you have to be in the way that you have to do it. You have to find what works for you and your family and your situation. Okay. So I think I'm going to end on that note, get some emails out because email is important. If you want to know what's working now, head over to my blog, tamarahamilton.com. And I have a few different posts. Just check out my four most recent posts, 4 or 5 most recent posts. They have video embedded in them and all of that. So go check those out. There's some videos on what's happening now, getting your strategy together. The fact that 2025, like baby, we already in 2025. I'm just telling you. Because if you wait till January 1st, January 2nd to start 2025, you already late. You're already behind the 8 ball because the rest of us have already built the momentum. We've already built the momentum. I'm already well into 2025, about the second quarter. So just saying. There's a live. I got to figure out which one. It's the recording is on YouTube. There's a video where I talk about that. About this is what you're doing right now is going to impact your results for first quarter. And by the time first quarter comes around, the activity you take in first quarter is going to be your results for second and even third quarter. So if you ain't making no sales now, it's because you took the summer off. And if you want to make sales for the holidays, do not delay. You need to get to work right now. If you want to be making sales in continuing business continuity in January, you need to be laying that foundation now. If you are seeing an overabundance, over projection of what you're making more than you projected to make right now, be putting some of that money aside. Don't go spend it all. Don't go spend it all because winter is coming. Okay. All right. I'm going to go. I will see y'all on the next live. Thank you so much for being here. Check out,